Hello everybody, this is Brick from My Attempt at History, and welcome to part 2 of the Reenacting Basics with Brick series. A series where I break down the individual pieces of a USGI during World War II infantry impression for reenacting, and all the things that you need to have an impression. All the items, the objects, personal items, clothing, etc. In today's episode, as you can see here, we're going to be talking about footwear and headwear. So let's get right into it. When it comes to footwear, this is not nearly comprehensive at all, and actually I'm missing a few of the items that I'd like to show in this video. But I'll do my best to explain the types of footwear that you will need and that you can use for a USGI impression during World War II reenacting. So, simply put, there are two kinds of US low boots. There's these, the rough out variety, and then there's the other ones, which I believe are called the Type 2 service shoe, which are the smooth out variety. As you can see, the leather inside of these rough out boots is what would be on the outside. They'd be a darker brown and you can easily shine them, but they are less waterproof. It is recommended that when you start reenacting, you start with the Type 2 with the smooth out. I actually don't have a pair of them right now for reasons that I don't need to explain. But anyway, I don't have a pair of those. After you get those, it is recommended that you very quickly get a pair of rough outs. Because if something happens to your boots, it's good to have two pairs. Secondly, these rough outs, a lot nicer when you're on the field, a lot more waterproof if you dub them correctly. There is one other option, and that's the higher two-buckle boots, which are also the rough out variety. And, of course, if you need to wear gaiters for an event, these are canvas leggings, we'll get into those for a minute. You can wear your low boots, and you can wear your double buckles when double buckles are allowed. Moving on, a pair of low boots is what you should start with. If you want more details about low boots, I know Reenactment Days has a few good videos on the different types of boots that were worn by GIs. Again, this video series is not about all the little details and designations, it's about the stuff you need for your impression. Second, of course, with low boots, you need your canvas leggings. No, you cannot use puttees. You can get rid of these if you have two-buckle boots, double buckles as they're commonly referred to. But these are canvas leggings. They go on top of your boots, they go up your leg, and their entire purpose is to keep water out of your boots. They do a great job of it. I've actually used them in the field a few times. They look like this. They lace up by going on with these hooks. Again, there are other videos about how to lace these up. I may make a video about that later. Stay tuned. On the inside, they look like this. Again, this goes around the bottom of your foot, go around your leg. And that's as simple as it gets for footwear. Footwear can be expensive. Leggings plus these boots can run you a pretty penny. Of course, I just brought out the socks because they go on your feet. But that's pretty much it for footwear. Again, sorry I don't have the smooth out service shoe, or commonly referred to as dress boots, to show. But again, this is the very basics of what you need to wear on your feet. Moving on to headwear. Where again, we're not going to go over any fancy designations, but there's two main pieces of headwear you're going to need. We'll talk about that later. An M1 steel pot helmet, and a PX or issue style garrison cap. The issue style just doesn't really have as sharp of corners. I don't have one of those at the moment, so I'm sure you could look it up and see it. At the front sells one, etc. These garrison caps should be piped blue for infantry. This pin here is not necessary. It is a unit-specific thing for the unit that I portray. And the inside, they look like this. They're just a wool cap that doesn't really provide any protection or anything. But it is something that was worn, is seen in many photos, and will often be required to wear. Moving on, M1 steel pot helmet. Everyone knows what this is. Everyone should know what this is if you're getting into reenacting. It's your basic American Army helmet. This is an original from World War II with an original restored liner. This liner had a name in it that's not my name, but I decided not to get rid of it out of respect. This is all restored webbing. A restored liner is probably one of your best bets for historical accuracy because the webbing's not going to rip, it's strong, it's good, and it looks like there's an actual liner in there. On the other hand, steel pot, it's corked well, liner chin strap, helmet chin strap. Now the reason I had this thing here is because helmet liners, because the M1 helmet is in two pieces, can be quite expensive. So, if you're just starting out, and say you do have a steel pot, whether it's a post-war, an original one, or a reproduction one, a reproduction plastic liner like this one's from at the front, so the webbing is actually pretty nice inside, will do the job. You don't see the liner inside the helmet when you're wearing it on your head. I'll show that in a minute. I'll just throw the helmet on my head. So, a reproduction liner is okay, but you should eventually look to replace it with a real liner. An original liner, that is. Even more preferably a restored one, because original ones, the suspension can tend to be brittle, and you don't want to ruin an original liner. And this is what the helmet looks like on the head. As you can see, you can hardly even see the liner on the inside. And this is what I mean by a reproduction liner will be fine as a temporary solution. And that'll do it for the basics of footwear and headwear for the standard, or most basic, USGI impression of World War II for reenacting. Thank you for watching. This has been Brick from my Attempt at History, and I'll see you next time.